Coach, you were at the game Monday night. Was this college football playoff run of 4 games the most fun you've ever had as a fan? I don't know
Yes.
who you've
Hey,
rooted for in your life. I'm sure it was the Yankees maybe growing up. But was this 4-game span, I know you went to 3 of them, was this 4-game span the most fun you've had just as a fan? Take coaching out of it.
something happened.
I think you're back, though. I think we're
Okay,
back
now I'm
and
back.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Hawk, it was. I absolutely loved it. And on one of the trips, I ran into Mark Fletcher's mom, and she drives to all those games.
Yeah.
That's the kind of commitment and passion you want. Can you imagine if we had all our fans showing up for every game at the Watsco Center or packing Hard Rock Stadium every night? Because when you have that kind of passion and loyalty to a program, that's what makes those blue bloods. Their alumni and their support for their programs. And a lot of times, they have down years. They don't win every year. They certainly don't get to the national championship or the Final Four every year. So this season was very special. And as you know, it doesn't come along every year. Even at Miami, we won 5 football national championships. But it's been how many years? 25 years since we won our last one. Is that
Just
right?
about. Yeah.
So, so if it comes along once in a blue moon, you want to cherish it and enjoy it and celebrate it. And I think that's what we did this year. I know as a fan now, no longer coaching, I never got to go to an away football game before. I went to SMU. I went to Texas A&M. I went to the Fiesta Bowl. So those games were thrilling for me. Plus, our team played great. And at least, well, maybe not at SMU.
Not on SMU, yeah.
But those other games, our team played great. We won. And everybody was in a good mood afterwards. So, one of the things, and you guys wouldn't know this name, but Dr. Alan Merton, the president of George Mason University, when I interviewed it for that job, in April of 1997, he said to me, if you come and take this job, I want you to understand the men's basketball program is the marketing arm of the university. No one knows about George Mason. They don't know if it's a state university or private school because we're not in the papers. But the Washington Post has a sports section. And if our team is good enough, they'll write about us. And then that helps us build the brand of GMU. And so that's what my staff and I try to do. And we did that. The same thing for our football program. Everybody that we recruited in basketball during my career, their dads were fans of the U. They all knew the U. How do you know the U? I'm a big fan of Ray Lewis. I'm a big fan of Michael Irvin. Those guys just followed the U all through the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. We're getting that back. Mario is getting that back. We're in the news all the time. So, sometimes, like now, it's great. Sometimes it's kind of negative, but Lefty Driesell said a long time ago, there's no such thing as bad publicity. If you're in everybody's mind and they're talking about you, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And Coach, now from coaching so long and the fandom, and either way, as a coach, because we talked about it with Monday Night's Game, like that's the position. Gino Torretta said it. Like you talk about that when you're a kid. 1 minute left. I got the ball. I got to go score to win the national championship. It's what you talk about basketball, football. Like you want to be in that position. As a coach, do you always want to win by 40, or do you like those games when it comes down to one possession? Let's see what happens.
Well, I was with Gino Torretta and Jim Kelly in our suite at the game, and I'm talking to them, and I'm a big fan of those guys because they were able to accomplish goals that most football players can only dream about. And to answer your question, you don't lay in bed at night as a basketball player thinking to yourself, 3, 2, 1, oh, I made the shot and we won by 40. No one does that. I'm dreaming about the crossover, the step back. I shoot the 3, 2, 1, and we win by 1. So that's the mentality of athletes, whether you're a football quarterback or running back. You know, I'm just so sad for those guys that when you lose, people focus on what you should have done, should have, would have, could have. But I'm thinking about Malachi Toney. Man, if let's say that last pass that was an interception just was a missed pass, we come back, we have another possession. All of a sudden, we give it to Mark Fletcher, and he breaks away and gets a touchdown. Or Malachi Toney breaks away and hits a short pass and then takes it in for a touchdown. You dream about those moments in sports. Sports is basically reality TV at the highest level. No one knows what's going to happen.
And you're invested in the characters. There's so much. I always say sports can bring a community together unlike anything else on the planet.
Yes.
On the planet. It crosses socioeconomic, racial, gender, every barrier you can think of. Sports is the one thing that can unify a community above anything else.
My two grandsons who live in Washington, D.C., before the playoffs began, before Selection Sunday, my grandson said, "Hey, Coach L, if we make the playoffs and we make it to the championship, you got to fly us down for the championship game." So when we beat Mississippi, I got texts and calls from them. "Are you flying us down? You got to get us tickets. And if you say you can't get them, you're just not trying hard enough." So they flew down. They came to the game. Their cousin, who's a freshman here, escorted them and was their host the whole time they were here. And when my wife and I put them on the plane yesterday, they said, "We want to come to Miami." Wow. That was the greatest sporting event ever. And they went to the Final Four and had better seats at the Final Four than they did for the football game. But they were talking about the people next to them that were drunk and had gambled on the game, and they were hysterical about the way those guys were ranting and raving every mistake we made.
Yeah, that changes the entire tenor of the way that you watch a game. I can speak on the personal basis on that. Talk about this real quick, because the Dolphins tomorrow are going to introduce their brand new head coach.
Yeah.
And you alluded to this when you joined us at 3:00. You went through it. You came here. You're a new coach, new city, trying to build a winning program while also trying to ingratiate yourself with the city and the media and the fans. It seems like an overwhelming task. And Jeff Hafley for the Dolphins tomorrow, that process is going to start. I mean, the coaching may have started already and the personnel stuff may have started. But tomorrow when he meets the media, this is the beginning of him ingratiating himself into a community that really doesn't know him. You can speak to how difficult that is. How difficult was that when you got here?
Del, you guys know who Frank Haith is? You remember Frank?
Sure. Yeah.
So I replaced Frank, and there was a quote in the paper by Frank Haith, and I'm not trying to disparage him in any way, but he looked at things a little differently than I did. There was a quote in the paper that said, "Really, I'm happy to leave because there was no interest in Miami basketball. There's just no interest in college basketball in this area. Even the janitor didn't know who I was back then the Bank United Center. I could go anywhere and I wasn't recognized." I took that quote and showed it to my staff, and I said, "Look, I know Frank sees it that way, but here's how I see it. In 6 months' time, if everybody in this community, at our arena, in Coral Gables, in the city of Miami, if they don't know who we are, that's our fault. We just haven't been out enough. We haven't talked up our program enough. And it's not just me. It's everybody on my staff. It's everybody on my team, anybody associated with our program in the athletic department. Because to build a culture, it's all about being inclusive and bringing more and more people into it." So we started with our summer basketball camp. I got all the campers to buy Miami gear, University of Miami gear. I invited them to games. I asked them to get their parents to buy season tickets. So the Dolphins, they're our team. They're our city, and they represent our city. And we want them to be world champions again. We want them to win the NFL. So that coaching staff, as new as they are, they got to, start with a grassroots network of fans and people who are going to support them loyally for the next 10, 12 years.
When you talk about grassroots, I recall you went to the dorm rooms, right?
Yes.
When you got here with pizzas. You went around to the different dorms at the University of Miami with free pizzas for the students to introduce yourself and to garner some interest in the UM basketball program. And obviously it's worked because we all know what you did with the basketball program. But did you ever say to yourself as you're walking down Pearson or Mahoney, a hallway in one of the dorms, say to yourself, what the hell am I doing? I'm carrying pizzas here. What the hell am I doing?
Hey, don't forget the chicken wings. It wasn't just it was pizza, but we also had chicken wings. They're a good sale for those.
I mean, did you say to yourself, Coach K doesn't have to do this? Jim Boeheim's not walking around the dorms
but we
doing
aren't
this.
Duke. We aren't Carolina. We aren't, because the basketball program, and we didn't have a basketball program from 72 to 85. We were trying to establish a tradition, something where the students fell in love with the basketball program. And as you're trying to sell your program, you can't do it behind closed doors. You've got to go out into the community. I was speaking. This is something Jose Mas, you all know who Jose is. He's a huge contributor to the University of Miami. He's on our board of trustees. He invited me to speak to his company. And my opening message to the audience, it was about 100 employees of Mas Tech, and I asked them a question. Are you at the beginning of your career or the end of your career? And then I follow that up with, I'm 62 years old, and I'm just in the beginning of my career. I'm just getting started. This is my new job, and I want to do a great job of being the head coach of Miami. I want to get us to be relevant, so we're mentioned in the same name with Duke and Carolina and Louisville and Syracuse and all the great basketball programs in the ACC. And as I said, you've got to get out in the community to do that.
And Coach, you said earlier, culture thing. How hard is that as a head coach? Because everybody says that the culture, the identity, there's a lot of cute words. You can market your team, but how hard is it to really change a culture of an entire athletic association?
Well, to me, culture is people. You got to change the people. You've got to find the people that fit your cultures, because the players that can run my offense, that can play my defense, the assistant coaches who know how to find the talent. Bill Courtney, God rest his soul, may he rest in peace. He was my best friend for 30 years, and he passed away last week. But when I hired him, he led me to go watch a player named Jason Musciri. And when I watched him play, I said, BC, this guy stinks. He's terrible. He dribbles the ball too much. He takes a lot of bad shots. And he said to me, Coach, I think you'll love him. And we ended up signing him, and he was an all-league player, and I love the guy. But Bill knew me. He understood me, what I was looking for and what I would like. Just because I watched the kid one time, he didn't have a particularly good game, he was what I was looking for. He was a kid with a great attitude, with a great work ethic, would be a great role model in our community, and he was willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of winning. He put winning first, not personal goals first, winning. What's happened with the portal and NIL is more student athletes are putting themselves first. How much money am I making? Can I get a better job someplace else? In the middle of January, basketball players are thinking about, hey, I think I'll put my name in the portal because I think I can get more money someplace, even in our own league. Kids are hopping from one league to another. And there's nothing wrong with it because that's the new normal. But if you're a coach like I was not comfortable with that. And I didn't feel good about my relationship with the players, because in them, instead of talking about winning, it was all about my playing time and my stats. Now, kids have always concerned themselves with those two things, but when you add money, now you got mom and dad and the agent very heavily involved, and that was a mountain I couldn't climb.
Wow. Coach, we love you. We cherish our time with you every week on this show, but last night was something special, and we were glad we could be there to celebrate a monumental moment at the Watsco Center with you. If anybody missed the quiz last night, they had a Jim Larrañaga quiz on the scoreboard. How well do you know him? One of the questions was, what is Coach Larrañaga's favorite smoothie flavor? And I knew it because he's mentioned it on the show before. Either you guys recall? I know Jimmy knows because he was with me there last night.
The Joe Z.
Well, that's the Mark Light Shake.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about a smoothie. It was Angel Food. Angel Food.
Oh,
Yep.
Smoothie King.
I got to tell you quickly, I had to call Solana to basically find out if you guys were really going to show up. I thought for sure you guys were a no-show. You're like NBA guys. Oh, yeah, I'm coming. And then you leave your tickets at the will call window.
Would not have missed that for the world. And you
what's
got us
funny
good
is,
tickets, too.
Yeah, what's funny is, Coach Al, at one point you pointed into the crowd, and I waved. I was like, oh, he spotted us. But then you called me. You said, were you guys there? So I don't know who you were pointing at.
Well, you had that Notre Dame hat on. So I thought
Coach, congratulations.
Hey, thanks, fellas.
We'll talk to you next week.
Okay. See you guys.
Jim Larrañaga. If you go to the Watsco Center and see a Hurricanes basketball game, you will see his name hanging prominently off a banner.
I could listen to Coach talk for 20 hours.
I really like the 4 o'clock hour. If we didn't have Zach Gelb planned and have to get the headlines, 15 minutes of heat, I could chop it up with him forever. Yeah. He's got great stories, great life experiences. Yep. I enjoy our time with him. It's not a put on.
It's funny because I look down and I know I'm locked in staring right at him, and I look at y'all, all four of y'all are locked in. Everybody just locked in.
There are certain people who are captivating speakers, and he's one of them.
Yesterday, Hawk, at the Watsco Center, he's being honored. He just grabs the mic, and there's chairs there. He didn't want to sit. He stood up, and he's addressing the crowd, and he has like that presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.